Hello, good afternoon. My name is Nick Kirpin. I am an instructor at New England Base Camp, and today, for our daily digital den meeting, I'm going to be doing one of my favorite requirements from the Tiger Adventure Loop, My Tiger Jungle, or My Backyard Jungle, which is the 1 foot hike. When I first saw this a couple years ago, I'm like, a 1 foot hike? What does that even mean? There's not much that you can find in such a small space. But it turns out that you absolutely can. So I am standing in the closest green space to my house. This is the Sharon Street Woods Urban Wilds. And as you can see, I picked a relatively wild patch. And we're going to see what we can find. If I were doing this with a school group, let's say at the Arboretum, I would have like a bug box and some probes and things like that. But I don't have access to those, and you guys probably don't either. So instead, I have this plastic see-through cup and some popsicle sticks from my childhood. And we're going to see what we can find. What I'm looking for, if we're trying to find cool isopods or other small critters, are like downed trees, stumps, logs, or rocks. And I think I'm going to start, given the 1 foot parameter, which is what I'm starting strictly on. I'm going to go with this guy here. I'm just going to flip it over and see what I find. Oh, this is going to be tricky. Okay, so got something here. Let's see if I can snap it. Again, not having access to two hands is going to make this hard, but it was a promising start. Let's see if I can find him. I'm going to put it down so I have access to both hands while I look. Here we are. So, let's take a look at the guy we found. Hopefully this will focus. I'm going to keep him in a somewhat shady spot. And take a look at what we found. Again, it seems to be some sort of beetle. Probably a best beetle. Can we see that? Yeah, there he is. And that was not bad for a first find. I'm trying to get it to focus. It might be hard, but he's very iridescent. That's a word that just means that his skin, his carapace, his exoskeleton is shiny. Oh, look at that. Yeah. And he was getting out, so I've released him back into the leaf litter. And we're going to see what else we can find. Oh, one last thing before I do anything. I'm going to put this back to where it was because scouts follow the principles of leave no trace. I don't want to be disrupting this guy's house. And so there we have it. Hello, hello. As I said, you can also look for under rocks or under downed trees. So we're going to do that right here. And let's see what we can find. Ah, cool. So I definitely see a ton of ants down in there. And not much else. So let's see if I can get one of these guys real fast. Probably not, because they're very small, and I'm once again holding a phone in one hand, which I did not think about before we started. So I'm going to wait to see if we find something more charismatic out here. But again, we have a bunch of little guys scurrying around under this. I'm going to again replace the rock as to not disrupt their habitat. And let's see what happens if we flip another one. Ooh. Look at this. This is clearly more right on top of where they're living. So I don't want to mess with them too much. There was some sort of middle form of a beetle in there too. It was long and skinny, but it was definitely not an insect. It had too many segments. let's see what else we can find. Oh. Let's see what we have down here. Nothing there. This looks like it was pretty recently placed down. Oh, I found something here. But it's buried itself faster than I could uncover it. So it was probably some sort of centipede, because they move quite fast. So as we're moving back to our original plot, that tiny 1 foot segment, I want to just talk about another thing that often gets overlooked when we're on a hike. Here we are. And that is everything that we can't just see. It's the stuff that we can feel, smell, or hear. So I'm going to do the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, which is be quiet for a moment. And we're going to see what we hear. So, I heard some things. I heard some birds. I heard the leaves rustling. I heard someone shutting a dumpster, probably out on the street. Yeah, you can hear the wind rustling through the trees. And with that, I'm going to try and find a couple more things. What I might do is show you what I'm going to flip it without my phone in my hand, so that I can actually have a reasonable shot of capturing whatever it is I find. And then if that works, I will be able to show it to you guys on camera. So wish me luck. So far, for those just tuning in, we've definitely found a really awesome beetle. And we saw evidence of some other animals as well. So I'm going to flip this bad boy over. Give me a second. Let's see if I can make an impromptu stand here. And here we have one of my favorite guys. It's an earthworm. You know what? There we are. Check this guy out. Remind me to wash my hands later. But I'm going to put him away, and he had a friend in there as well. Ooh, and we have a pill bug. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Oh, there we are. And he just escaped me as well. He took the plunge. He's back already next to the rock, so I'm going to leave them be. There we are. So a couple things to consider if you want to do something like this on your own. You don't need to find... Oh, let me flip this so you can see my beautiful face. You don't need to find a place out deep in the woods. I'm literally like 30 feet from a street that way. You just need to find a little spot of green, and it can be almost anywhere. So I'm going to mix things up. I'm going to walk to a second location that looks a lot less woodsy, and we're going to see what we can find in our 1 foot of space. So enjoy the views again. someone has painted rocks and put them out here as decoration. So, hello. A fun sidebar, this tree here is very cool. I'm going to give you a close-up on sparkling leaves. This is a sweet birch, and the way I can tell is the gray color of the thin trunk, the shape of the leaves, and the coolest part, the smell of the bark. So if we break the surface a little bit and give it a smell, it actually smells like mint, or it smells minty, which is very cool, and it's one of the ways you can tell it apart from other types of birches that also look like gray barked narrow trees with serrated rounded leaves. All right, so for you don't know what's about to happen, again, for the My Tiger Jungle or My Backyard Jungle, depending on which version of the book you have, you want to pick a very small spot, like a 1 foot by 1 foot square, and see what you can find in it. And what you can find in such a small space might be surprising. So again, I'm going to use the most scientific of tools here. I have exactly a cup and a stick to use as a probe, a pencil really, and we're going to see what we can find in this area here. I'm going to try and roll this out of the way, but before I do that, I'm going to put the phone down so that we can actually have a chance of catching anything we see, because it turns out small invertebrates move very quickly to go back into hiding. I believe. Aha! So we found another worm. Several of them. But I want to see what else I can find. Ooh, and here we have something. I'm going to actually leave this on my palm so that he uncurls. This guy here, doing his best shell impression, is a millipede. So again, an arthropod, meaning they have jointed legs. And he's curled up now because he is in defense mode. He has a very tough exoskeleton that's protecting him, but between my hand not being too threatening and the body heat from my hand, he might uncurl and start exploring in a little bit. Oh, there we go. That is the most focus I've got. Something you can see the segmentation, you can see his legs. I'm going to put him back down, and we're going to see that he's returned back safe and sound. We can also see an earthworm down here, as well as evidence of other animals. So you'll notice as we go looking in our 1 foot plot, there are some things that we can see that prove other animals are around. Even if we can't see them, we can still see plenty of worms, another millipede, but we also see like that hole there. There's a hole on the bottom of the log as well. And that is, again, evidence of animals eating into or living inside of the log. And that's that for this tiny plot. I'm going to get the log back in place. We're going to move on to one more place, a place I have found salamanders before. And if there are any there, that's going to be very cool. If not, I think that's going to be the end of this Facebook Live Daily Digital Den meeting. So one more stop. And again, this place is not in the middle of the woods. It's not in the Blue Hills. It's just a park in Boston. And a great thing about Boston is there are lots of these little green spots scattered throughout the city, the greater Boston area. So if you're looking for a place to get out and explore without seeing very many other people, places like this are a great opportunity. So now let's see if our salamanders are still around. I'm not going to even try picking them up if I find them, just because it turns out salamanders and human skin oil don't go over very well. But let's see what we can find. Not here, which is where I saw them last week when I was around. But that isn't too surprising. But let's see if there's stuff we can find. Ooh. More ants. Different varieties. These ones are black instead of red-ish. Ooh, that's some stuff. That is the largest worm I've seen so far today. And then a bunch of roots for new plants coming up. I'm going to see if I can get that to focus there. Yeah, there we are. So there we have it. This is my take on the 1 foot hike in our backyard or tiger jungle. It doesn't take more than a foot, and you can find a lot of really cool things you can hear and sense and smell. A lot of very cool things in such a small space. Good luck getting out there and exploring the world yourself in such a small scale. This is Nick Kerpen for New England Base Camp, signing off. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm going to see if I can get some photos of things to also upload from this, since the camera was very blurry, and we'll see how that goes from there. Have a great day, stay safe,